Hey everyone, it's Liam American, and I wanted to give a preliminary, early review of the new costume coming out for Eclipse, the Nightmare Bunny Eclipse. I've read quite a few people's opinions on the forums that have plenty of experience in PvP as well. Have some thoughts I'd like to share with you on what's good and what's not so great about her kit in the new costume coming out tomorrow. So this is Nightmare Bunny Eclipse, and I can tell you for the animation alone that I'm going to +5 it regardless of if it's useful for PvE or PvP. She's one of my favorite characters, and you can guess why. What her new ability is, it's very similar to her main costume in that it's 3 SP and it's a triple hit, and there is some SP shenanigans. She is has a mini battery, gains SP, loses SP, but again for PvP, all we care about is turn 1, so the whole gaining SP is not super useful or relevant in my opinion. You mostly care about the other things. So obviously it's a triple hit, it's a skip, and it's actually this huge plus sign, very similar to Elise, but with 1 more range in each direction. All same as with Elise, the triple hit, and 1 fewer SP. And it actually does give MDef reduction. It reduces their resistance by 15% for 4 turns, which can be pretty big if they only chose to get 90%. And there's been some discussion on the Discord about, are units going to move to 105%? That's possible. That might be able to counter it, but how much are you willing to sacrifice to get that 105%? Because you can get almost no HP at that point, or you might be giving up, critical damage to be able to protect against this. Yeah, so let's talk about some of the pros and cons of this costume, and then I'll talk about comparison to the HLathel plus Justia combo. So the first thing that's a big pro for Eclipse is similar to Justia, she has no counter element on attack. I mentioned this in my previous video. Light and dark units on attack are great because they're never going to have elemental disadvantage. A unit like Lathel attacking a water unit like Therese deals less damage, and light and dark units don't have that on attack. Similarly, light and dark units on defense suck for that reason. Or they're not horrible, but they are disadvantaged compared to other units because of this interaction between light and dark. The second nice thing about this costume is it has pretty high ratios, 200%, which is nice because it compensates for her bruiser-like stats. So she has pretty low base stats, similar to HLathel. You can see here a carry like Elenier has 352, I think Shara has 385 or something, Ventana is 385. These are units that I'm into carry, but units like Eclipse and Celia are more in the high 200s or low 300s. So it kind of balances out there, but we'll have to see the actual numbers on what kinds of thresholds you can use to kill the units. Another pro is that she's very likely to hit 2 units. I can go through some positioning examples on defense, but it's going to be a little bit challenging to try to dodge this. There are strats you can do. Let's talk about briefly some of the cons. The main problem, in my opinion, is that running a 3 SP Bunny Eclipse plus 2 SP Helena, which you'll almost certainly have to pair with her, leaves no room for other costumes. So the HLathel plus Justia costume combo that's so strong is nice not only because Justia guarantees a kill on offense, but also because you're left with 2 SP to use however you want for the rest of your turn. You can, do a root kick, you can do Angelica's base costume, which is what I do. You can do Manager Grey, you can do Sylvia's Sylvia's sword costume. You can do all kinds of different things. Some are more useful than others, but you have a lot of freedom, and that also leaves a lot of room for potential improvement. If a new low SP costume comes out, you can use them. But with this kind of offense, if you do full magic with just Eclipse and Helena, it's going to be kind of rough. You won't have any room for any of that unless they change the arena mechanics. I do think this will be countered by 105% MDef, but we'll have to see how much you have to sacrifice to get that possible on your magic resistant units. Another con for Eclipse, unfortunately, is that she is one of the units that I wouldn't run her exclusive gear on attack on PvP. You can get some bonus magic attack, you'll get an extra stat, but you're stuck running the crit rate line, and what you'd like to do is run Helena and then run crit damage so that you can kill units with that high crit damage. Otherwise, the only other source of crit damage is on your sword, right? So it's going to be a little bit rough. I think it's unlikely that her exclusive gear is going to be useful on PvP attack, and for that reason, she's at a little bit of a disadvantage compared to other units. And then another disadvantage is that Eclipse only has 2 costumes at this moment, and they both are cooldown 5 turns. So whereas Justia, if Justia does her stabby stab on turn 1 and then anything else on turn 3, she still has at least 1 and maybe 2 good costumes for turn 5, her 3rd turn attacking. Whereas Eclipse is going to be running out, so if you're facing tanky units like a Glacia that you get a little bit stuck on, you're going to be kind of SOL on turn 5. So yeah, all that to say, I think it depends. I know they're doing PvP arena changes over the coming event, so we still have more to see, but if they didn't change anything today, my guess is that she would kind of fit into the meta not being super strong. Maybe for newer players that don't have a strong HLathel Justia, you could run something magic focused with Helena and Eclipse, but just Justia is so strong with that guaranteed 1 kill and giving you that 2 SP flexibility. I don't see this as changing much, especially when it's not too hard to position around Eclipse. In fact, I screwed up my own positioning to give you an example here. If you run something like this, Eclipse is guaranteed to only hit 1 unit. And the nice thing is this is actually a decent defense against, again, don't care about which units there are, don't worry about which units specifically are where, but this kind of positioning is decent against Justia because you're making sure she can only hit 1 unit. You're not running something like a 401 or a 104 or a 131 that is vulnerable to Justia's stabby stab. So this kind of positioning, hey, Eclipse now spent 3 SP to hit 1 unit and maybe not even kill it if they had a 105% MDef. Are you willing to risk that? Because it's kind of self-balancing again. If it's popular, people will just do something like this and then it's not strong. Whereas Justia, there is no counter to Justia. She will kill any unit. So my guess is that, again, all I have to say, if they don't change anything, I don't think it's going to be that strong, but it does look good. I'm excited for her, but yeah, those are my thoughts anyway. Feel free to correct me or add any additional thoughts you have in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the PvP arena.